I just want to welcome everybody to the first Child Nutrition Program monthly webinar of school year 23-24. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us. I'm Pamela. I'm the Farm to School Program Coordinator and oversee the Fresh Fruits and Vegetables Grant Program for the department. And let's go ahead and get started. Here's our agenda. We want to welcome you back. We have a supply chain assistance and reallocation message, sodium transition, USDA foods, Buy American, Farm to School, SFSP and SSO Turnip the Beet Award info, Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program info, professional standards, and then some next dates. Just wanted to take a minute and say thank you so much for all you do. You do make a difference, and the child nutrition team wants to remind you that you have a positive impact on the life of a child. Again, thank you for all you do. Sean, do you want to take it away and tell us about supply chain assistance and reallocation, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. I'll be giving you an update on the supply chain assistance funding. You can turn the next slide. Last May and June, we were asking you to let us know if you will be using your supply chain assistance funds. Through that process, we came up with about $166,000 that we reallocated to the remainder of the participating districts. Those reallocations went out last night. The amounts are small, but every little bit helps. You and your business managers will need to go into the GRA and draw down those funds by September 30th. Any funds not drawn down by that date will be returned to USDA. As a reminder, you do not need to submit any documentations with your drawdown, but you do need to keep your records of domestic, unprocessed, or minimally processed food purchases that you purchased with those funds. Those documents will be reviewed during your AR. And I've already received some drawdown requests, so you guys are on top of it. The next slide, please. And then I also wanted to let you know that USDA has notified us that we will be receiving a fourth allocation of supply chain assistance fund. Idaho will receive $6,416,889, and this is about 1/2 of what we received from the first 3 allocations. Based on the timeline USDA provided us, we hope to have those funds distributed by September 15th. The same rules apply as last year. But you do need to opt into these funds. So we will be sending out an opt-in notice that you will need to respond to. The intent of this round of funding is for it to be used for purchases in the 23-24 school year. And these funds need to be drawn down by September 30th, 2024. As we get more details from USDA, we will let you know and what's the next steps to do. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Sean. Now we have some info on transitional standards, and this one's for Cambria.
Good morning, everybody. So this is just a reminder that the sodium levels have decreased for school year 23-24. This is going to be on the sodium guideline 1A, and this is only for lunch. So as you can see on the screen, these are the new sodium guidelines. So please double check your menus and make sure that you are meeting this new standard. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Cambria. We have USDA foods now. TJ, can you take it away?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Hard to believe that we're talking about another school year, but we are here. So the first thing I wanted to cover is some of the changes that we'll go through for school year 23-24. One thing about our program is we're always looking for better ways to enhance our program. And sometimes those are about processes that we've previously used and system changes. So this year we have a couple that are pretty instrumental in the way we will do specific business practices. And the first one we're going to talk about is known as the single bank. We actually started discussing the single bank and what would occur back in the spring of school year 22-23, but we knew that implementation would not take place until this year. So I just wanted to remind everyone that the single bank is essentially a method where all of the pounds, raw bulk material pounds for further processing that were requisitioned by all school districts in Idaho will be placed into what is called a single bank. So we will have a single bank of peanuts for those that requisition pounds to Smuckers, or a single bank of chicken for those that requisitioned pounds to Tyson. I did send out a broadcast email on July 28, 2023. If you have not yet read that email, please go back and find it and read through it, because it does give very specific information about making sure you understand what you have access to in terms of the single bank. It's very important to note, I've already had to remind a few people post that email going out. If you are a recipient agency who did not order raw bulk materials, you cannot go into Gold Star Foods and order products for commodity purchase. In other words, products under the USDA Foods Bank, because you did not requisition raw bulk material. So please read the email and apply what was told in there. There's some specific steps about making sure you know what actions you took when you requisitioned your products in March. There will be a single bank Gold Star training. The expectation is that will happen next week. So please watch for an email from Gold Star about that training so that everyone understands how the single bank works. Then the second change is we will no longer be using the exchange document. That will be pulled off of our website in the next couple of days. And the reason for that is that process of claiming product that you didn't specifically order because maybe it belongs to the state agency, it was surplus product or it's bonus product. We will now be claiming those products in the Gold Star Foods inventory release software system under a system change called the advertisement post. So that, again, you will receive training on, but I just wanted to let you know it's not that the products went away. It's the process whereby you claim products. It will happen in the system. And if you think about it logically, the more we can integrate into the system that moves our product from WebSCM to your ability to release it for delivery to your schools, the more data that lives in that system, the easier it is for you to know what products are on order, what products are available for you to place for delivery. So that's the reason for doing that. And now we just need the training on it, and that will happen hopefully in the next week. So next slide, please. So I did want to just share that some information went out about a string cheese pilot. And I wanted to just make sure everyone is aware that when we talk about a pilot program, as a state agency and from USDA's perspective, we have to be very strategic about a way a pilot program is implemented. So the state agency was provided an opportunity to participate in a pilot program bringing string cheese into our state. But we know that string cheese has been a problematic product in the past because it has a very short shelf life. Some vendors say you can freeze it, some don't. So it didn't work out well for our state to bring in a whole truckload, and then you had to use it within 90 days. So we opted to participate in the string cheese pilot program so that we could order minimally available amounts. However, in order to participate and test the pilot successfully, the only recipient agencies currently participating are those that were in the advisory council who helped the state make the determination about how many cases we could feasibly order to test this pilot program. So pilot programs are used essentially to test for sustainability. There are lots of stakeholders in the USDA foods program. Pilot programs are a lot of additional work for USDA on the contracting side. It's also a risky commitment for a vendor because they don't know what their product demand will be or what the actual product cost will be at the time we implement the pilot. So I did want to let you know, if you heard about the pilot and you're not participating, it's because I strategically released it only to the advisory council. And if we test it out and it works for our state, then all recipient agencies will be able to participate. It will then not be a pilot. We'll be able to bring string cheese into our state. So hopefully that clears it up for anyone that maybe heard about it and is wondering why they didn't know more. Next slide, please. And I do want to remind everyone that the state distributing agency, we used our USDA foods webpage as a one-stop shop. So we get a lot of emails from folks saying, hey, I need to do this or I need to do that. But we want you to be aware that every single tile that is on the USDA Foods and Processing webpage has relevant resources attached to that tile. So the example you're seeing is the further processed USDA foods tile. If you click on it, under that tile, you will see all of the resources you need to successfully participate if you requisitioned raw bulk materials for further processing. You'll find the further processing drawdowns for raw bulk materials for the coming school year, so you know how many pounds you need for each case. You'll see the pricing for each product available in school year 23-24. You'll also see all the product information. So if you need product sheets to be able to plan your menus, they're on the USDA Foods webpage. Now, I do want to caveat that last one that I mentioned, we're waiting for it to be posted up to our website. We have to go through ADA compliance. And sometimes those documents are difficult to get to that stage. So within the next week, you should see the product information on our webpage. Additionally, if you have a USDA foods complaint, please go to the tile and use the procedures and the complaint form. But every single tile on our page has relevant resources. So please go there first. If you have questions, see if you can find an answer to your questions. And then if you can't, certainly let us know and we're happy to guide you. Next slide, please. And then, of course, inventory management resources. We're talking foods are rolling in, right? We know that we requisitioned foods back in March. Foods have already arrived at the warehouse. You're preparing your menus and starting to serve students. So please don't forget that we have resources in every single system that we use to successfully manage your inventory. It's really critical that you know on the web-based supply chain management system that there are reports that help you know what happened in March, what happened in July, what's happening today. So please make sure that you have a downloaded copy of the WebSCM user guide, which you will see on our USDA Foods page, so that you can know how to run those reports and what they mean in terms of your management. Also, the fresh fruits and vegetables ordering receipt system has reports. You can know what your usage is. You can go and see what your budget balance is, so you know where you're at in that particular system if you allocated funds. And then, of course, in the Gold Star Foods inventory release software system, there are also reports. You can find all kinds of information in there. What products are sitting at the warehouse? What products are going to be arriving at the warehouse and when, based on what you ordered in WebSCM. So please rely on those. The inventory release software system also tracks all of the monetary costs associated with storage and delivery of your USDA foods. So please become familiar with the reports that are available in those systems so that you can have a solid plan for understanding your USDA foods inventory for school year 23-24. Next slide, please. And this slide is essentially for those, it's just serves as a reminder, but number one, the state distributing agency does not have access to your name or password for any of the systems that are used to manage your USDA foods. If you have forgotten your name or your password, I can't help you with that, and neither can my team. Each one of these systems has a forgot my name, my username, and forgot my user password link. If you have forgotten that information, please make sure you use those links, because we just don't have access. It's not that we wouldn't be happy to help you. We simply can't. So we oftentimes are redirecting people's efforts to go where they need to go to get their systems reset. Keep in mind a couple of things. Most of this is for any of you new users. We have a lot of new folks joining us for school year 23-24. WebSCM access. WebSCM is a secure USDA system. There is a multi-step process in order to be able to access the system. You have to go through step one, which is called e-authentication. And then in the WebSCM registration, you have to accept the terms on the rules of behavior page. So a lot of times I'll get an email and say, well, I did it, but it won't let me in. And 99% of the time, it's because the person didn't scroll all the way to the bottom, click the I accept terms, and that is what triggers the system to allow them into the system. So please make sure you're following those steps. As far as the Gold Star Foods inventory release software system, if you need access, it's Gold Star Foods who provides your username and your password. So it's those folks that you need to reach out to. Additionally, when it comes to favors, the State Department can enter a user in favors, but you already have to have e-authentication. So that process for WebSCM ties to favors, because favors is also a USDA secure system. And if I can set you up as a point of contact, but if you need access, you need to reach out to Tessie Vez. And back to the previous slide, our website is set up as a one-stop shop. Tessie Vez's, if you click on DOD tile, her email is a link right there on that tile. So it's very simple to get a hold of her, and she can finish up the process. She is our DOD customer service rep. Next slide, please. Okay, so quickly, those reports I talked about, inventory entitlement reports, they're on WebSCM. If you have the user guide, you can run those reports and they will show you really important information. This slide shows an example of the entitlement bonus summary report. So for this particular user, please note that we are talking for school year 23-24 about program year 24. It's always the last half of a school year. This particular user's beginning balance was $35,773.87. If they run their bonus summary report, they'll know how much they allocated to DOD, because those allocations are already set up in favors. So this user did $11,599. And then it will show them what they actually entered for orders. They spent a total of $16,159.11 of their estimated available entitlement on other USDA foods besides DOD. So their current entitlement balance shows $8,015.76. The reason I want to talk about this is that is an estimated entitlement balance, because next day they run the report, that balance may be different because a truckload of product went from approved to purchased. And now the price is set in stone, and any variance in that price comes off the entitlement balance. So please pay attention, because that entitlement balance may become important if we find that we have extra entitlement because of cancellations, or if we have to actually, if people are running in the negative, we may actually have to cancel a truckload of product. So watch your reports. There's also entitlement bonus detail report that will show you everything that you ordered and the cost associated with it, whether it's still in an estimated cost or an actual decrement to your entitlement because it was a purchased truckload. Run your requisition status report. That tells you where all your requisitions that were entered currently sit in the process between contracting to warehouse. So please make sure you have a copy of the WebSCM user guide and rely on that and pull your reports. Next slide, please. And then, of course, in the inventory release software system, there's a live inventory report. It identifies all stored direct delivery products. They've hit the warehouse. So you need to be aware of that, because those products are now starting the tick down for that 60-day dwell time policy. So this example, the reports are on the left side of the inventory release software system. When you open it, there's a little dashboard. It looks like just like that screenshot I show you where it says reports. You click on USDA Live, and this is what it will show. It will generate the report of what's on hand, what's on order, and what's available. That means for this user, there are 6 cases of flour sitting at the warehouse, 3 cases of mixed berries. So know what's at the warehouse so that you know what inventory you have to rely on as you're moving your menus through the process for school year 23-24. Next slide, please. And then, of course, we have had some product issues. For anyone watching the WebSCM notifications, they generate and they tell you what an old status is and what the old value and the new value. And you'll note that our apple slices got canceled right off the bat. And then, of course, we have had, you can see that we have had 2, 4, 5 truckloads of cleaned, diced peaches canceled already this year. Peach crop is a problem this year. We also had 2 truckloads of clean slices canceled. It's important for you to know that. Why? Because if you had a plan for having those cases of peaches available for menuing, and fruit is a requirement in your menu, you're going to have a backup. You're going to need a backup plan for acquiring those commercially or substituting other available fruit products. So please watch for that. That will also show on your requisition status report. You personally were affected by a cancellation. It's on your requisition status report. So you need to know if you ordered 6 cases to come in September and they're not coming. So please make sure you know what is happening with your inventory. And next slide, please. Okay, this is the big one, guys. There is an entitlement reduction. We knew this was coming. We talked about it in the spring. In March of 2023, when we entered our requisitions for USDA foods, the per meal rate in WebSCM was 43 cents. But in July, on July 13th, USDA adjusted our per meal rate down to 36.5 cents. That's a huge decline. So what does that mean? In March, you spent money with the objective of spending all 43 cents for every meal that you were eligible to spend it on. But now you don't have that much money anymore. Additionally, meal counts in March 2023 were school year 21-22's numbers. Those will get adjusted to 22-23 in November. And we all know what happened in 22-23. Meal counts went down. So meal counts will go down too. That essentially means that what you spent in March is not likely going to be enough. You're not going to have as much entitlement. So the good news for us is that those cancellations, whether we wanted them or not, they essentially righted the ship. I check our entitlement, our overall entitlement every single week. And so far we're holding steady. The other good news is the cost of product has gone down. So what the estimated cost when we place those requisitions, when we're purchasing them through bid, they're actually coming in at lower cost. So I don't want anyone to panic, but you may hear from me that I have to cancel a truckload of product. That's so that we don't carry a deficit into the next school year when we go to place requisitions. I just want everyone to be aware. The other reason I wanted to mention this is because if you didn't pay attention to what Sean talked about with those available SCA funds, you need to, because those SCA funds can help offset the decline in our per meal rate and in our meal counts. Use your SCA funds wisely because you can purchase other product with those. If you need to get commercially procured fruit, you might want to think about claiming your SCA funds. Okay, let's talk about the next slide. So we want you to join us at the ISNA Fall Vendor Show. We all know that it's October 18th. From 8 to 9, the State Distributing Agency is going to be holding a 1-hour advisory council. Thank you to all of those present on this webinar who also serve on our advisory council. We are extremely fortunate in this state. We've got some really strategic minds that serve on the council, and our USDA Foods program has really benefited from those folks serving. So we will hold that advisory council in person, and then following the advisory council from 9 to 10, we'd like to invite anyone who's not a participant of the advisory council to come join us for a 1-hour Q&A. Our objective is to cover anything that comes up between now and the fall food show, but specifically we will talk about the single bank, so everyone's on the same page about the benefits of the single bank and how we plan to be able to have that be a beneficial resource for the entire state moving forward. There's a lot about that single bank that most folks don't understand, but it really helps us dial down strategic planning of our entitlement. Additionally, we're going to talk about the advertisement post, make sure everyone's aware of what products are available, how you can claim them if you need them. But again, training will occur hopefully in the next week on those two pieces. But this is just going to be a Q&A to bring up anything that we need to discuss about our USDA Foods program. So please make sure you join us for that. And then final slide, please. Oops, did we miss? Yes, we did. Just a quick reminder, guys, if you have questions, please use the USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov email. It is designed to incorporate everyone that supports the USDA Foods email or the USDA Foods program. There are multiple people that get an email when you use that email. We all travel in this office, and if you direct it to just one of us, it could be weeks before you get a response. And it may not be timely anymore, but if you use that email address, someone on our team will get back to you. It is designed so that we can provide prompt customer service. So please use that email for any questions that you have. And I do see one question in the chat box. I assume we're going to get to those at the end. Is that correct, Pamela?
Yes, it was a mention of the webinar occurring on the vendor show, and the webinar will be changed to the 25th.
Oh, got you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, TJ.
Yes, thank you.
Our next section is on Buy American, and Cambria is going to take over for this.
Thanks, Pamela. So we just want to give everybody a reminder as the school year is starting up and orders are starting to be shipped to the school. We just want to remind everybody that Buy American is required for the school nutrition program. So Buy American requires SFAs to purchase to the maximum extent practicable domestic commodities or products. So what this means is that a domestic commodity or product is an agricultural commodity that is produced and processed in the United States. So if you have products that are not in the United States, we will need to use a Buy American exception form. We'll talk a little bit about that. So the next slide, please. In all of your written procurement procedures and any solicitations for IFBs, RFPs, purchase orders, and contracts, you need to have Buy American provision language in them. So you need to have something in your contract that states that your foods will be Buy American, or there are exceptions for that. Next slide. The exceptions for this is that if your cost is significantly higher than non-domestic products, or the product is not produced in sufficient quantities in the United States. So both of these are exceptions to the Buy American provision, but we do want to make sure that you are keeping your documentation as to why you are using an exception. So if a food is significantly higher in cost, please contact your vendor or use the AMS resource to document that that price was higher or that it was not available in the United States due to it being outside of the growing season, or maybe it's not grown in the United States. Next slide, please.
Cambria, on this next slide, it's from the supply chain assistance funding, and Kat wanted us to point out that the Buy American exceptions are not allowed.
Yes, so that is a great point from Pamela. So just like TJ and Sean have mentioned the supply chain assistance funding, this funding cannot be used for foods that are purchased outside of the United States. So if you have bananas are a great example. Those are not produced in the United States, so please do not use your supply chain assistance funds to purchase bananas. You cannot use your exception forms for these products. The state agency, we recommend using your milk receipts to use these SCA funds. Please double check to make sure that you're not getting your milk from, possibly Canada or something like that. But most of our milk is local or domestic. So that is a great product to use it for. But if you are going to be using it for your produce, please double check to make sure that the products that you are receiving are going to be from the United States. Otherwise, you cannot use the SCA funds for this. And just as another reminder, please make sure that you are keeping all of your documentations, all of your invoices, all of your receipts, everything that you're using these funds for. Make sure that you have documentation to back this up. And that's it.
Thanks.
Yes.
We have a question in the chat. How do you define significantly higher?
Significantly higher is 51% or more. So for it to be considered an agricultural commodity or that is processed, so it needs to be using 51% of the product needs to come from the United States.
Okay, and maybe that was in the cost for an exception form. How would we? Okay, yes, the cost. How would
the cost. Okay.
Yeah, how would that be? How would that
So
be addressed?
The cost, that is up to your district. We do not define what a significantly higher cost is. It is going to be whatever is too much for your district to spend on something. So, because we know that everyone's district's financial situation is a little bit different. So that is up for you to determine. But if you do use that exception, please make sure that you have that documentation showing that the cost was higher and that you could not afford to pay that price.
Awesome. Thanks. And the Patrick Leahy Farm to School program, I'll take over for these slides. If you have a passion for local food and would like to be a founding member of the Farm to School Advisory Council, please give me a holler and we'll get it launched. Wanted to let you know some steps to buying local food. The first step to incorporating local foods into your meal programs is finding what is local and in season. And the Idaho Preferred website has a fantastic way to put in your zip code and find out who's growing what in your region. Another thing you can do is plan ahead with your procurement process. And that means that you just look out, send out your bids, see who's growing what and what could be offered. The sponsors must follow proper procurement procedures and maintain your appropriate documentation. And then the last thing to do is to serve the local products during Farm to School month, which is October. You can serve them anytime, really, but you know, if you can get something in for October to celebrate, we'll be able to highlight your menus and share them with others. Here's an example of a menu with local foods, and every little bit counts. So on Monday, if you just count your local skim and low fat milk, on Wednesday, you're going to put in local bell pepper slices. And then on Friday, maybe you have, you know, some great local cantaloupe and you can go ahead and serve those up. So these are, you know, you could on this menu, you could see lots of other places where you could incorporate local foods. But, you know, if you just have you know, start small and get it in there whenever you can, because every little bit counts. And then the What's in Season poster from Idaho Preferred, and basically what's not in season right now is what we're looking at. We're still waiting on some pumpkins and sweet potatoes, but we have an abundance of so many other things. If you're looking for, you know, grapes, there are lots of grape growers, and if you need help getting them distributed, well, reach out to the grower. Perhaps they have a truck that could bring them on over. Again, follow your procurement process and, you know, make good slides. But this is an excellent example of having a backup plan. When those peaches got canceled, you know, what else could you bring in? And how else could you procure them? So if you have any questions, please, you know, reach out, let me know, and let me know how it's going for you too. Thanks. Our next section is on the Turnip the Beet Award. So Marianne, why don't you take it over?
Awesome. Thanks, Pamela. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful summer break. I know that you guys are all getting ready for the school year. Obviously, today is the first day of school for some of you, but I wanted to just provide some quick information regarding the Turnip the Beet Award for SFSP and SSO sponsors that operated this summer. As you all know, during the summer meals or during the summer breaks, summer meals are very critical in the lives of our Idaho children and youth. They are at risk for food insecurity because it increases during the summer months when they no longer have access to the school meals program. The summer meals program, like SFSP and SSO, they do present the opportunity to help alleviate summertime food insecurity and, of course, have a positive impact in the child's growth and development by offering them nutritious meals during the summer months. And, of course, encouraging children to develop healthy eating habits at a young age. We all know that high quality summer meals provide daily energy and help to make sure that children are healthy and ready to learn when they return to school this fall. And of course, the Turnip Beet Award was created to really showcase our SFSP and SSO sponsors who are going above and beyond to ensure that children have access to healthy foods that are appetizing and nutritious. And so the state agency would love to encourage our SFSP and SSO sponsors who operated this summer to submit a nomination. And I've already attached the PDF copy of the nomination page or nomination sheet, but also you can visit the website that you can see in your screen. In 2022, so last summer, we did have 2 Idaho SFSP sponsors who received the gold and the bronze award. So we would be honored to be able to showcase more sponsors from summer 2023. Really, this is a great way to highlight our programming in your state. And of course, again, showcase all of your hard work in providing nutritious meals to Idaho's children and youth. So please consider submitting a nomination. It is due to the state agency by August 31st. So we have a couple more weeks because we as the state agency have to submit that to our Western Region office by the end of September. So we want to make sure we have plenty of time to go over those nomination packets. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the state agency. And again, the Turnip the Beet Award nomination form is attached on your chat box. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Marianne. Our next section is on Fresh Fruits and Vegetables Program, FFVP. And I just wanted to set a reminder that your required trainings are due August 27th. So you can access them in the learning portal. The school year 23-24 FFVP grant administration and the school year 23-24 FFVP school operations webinars are in there. And the different people can take the trainings as depending on what they're going to be doing. So you can have different certificates, different people taking the trainings. If you're the one who's running the whole program, then you need to take both. And also the signed addendum is due August 27th, 2023. And then finally, I wanted to remind everybody about professional standards. We just finished our finishing our annual trainings. It was great to see all you guys. And for that, here's the training tracker logs that you can download and just stay in front of all the hours that you're putting in training, not only yourself, but also your staff. Staying on top of training is really going to help in the long run, because then it gets to be a lot fast, as you know. Make sure you have your training agenda with who's facilitating the training, the sign-in sheet, and make sure everybody signs in using the correct date that it was offered. And that's going to be what we're looking for when we come out on an administrative review. And then our next webinar will be September 20th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And of course, these are recorded. So if it's hard for you to get in, and you can always go back and watch it on our YouTube channel. And then here are some other dates to be mindful of. The FFVP trainings and addendum due date and is on Sunday, the 27th. It is not the new directors. That's on in September, so I apologize for that. But the Turnip the Beet Award is due on the 31st, just so you know. But one thing we wanted to have you get on your calendar is tracking what is your 30-day carryover date. Some folks have already gone back to school and the clock has already started ticking. So take a minute and look up what is, when you're going to be setting that in. And then here is our team. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call, email the team, and reach out however it works for you. This is our non-discrimination statement. And going back to our calendar real quick, other dates, we had a question in the chat about the webinar in October, and we'll go ahead and move that to October 25th. So it doesn't compete with the vendor show. So again, this is our team, and we want to thank you for joining us. And if you have anything else, you stay on for a little while, or you can get back 14 minutes of your day. Thanks, everybody.